Do you want to know how pros know their way across the entire fretboard, regardless of what key they're playing in? Well, you can also use the entire fretboard by understanding major scale patterns that you simply memorize once and then learn how to shift them for specific keys. This method means you don't have to actively think about sharps or flats or even all the notes in a scale because it's pattern based. Now, I'm a big fan of limiting your soloing to a very small area when you're learning to phrase and build a melodic solo. But by the end of today's lesson, if you want to solo in any major key anywhere on the guitar, you'll know how to do it. By the way, if you're just starting your soloing journey, make sure to grab my free Beginner Soloist Handbook. It's loaded with scales, arpeggios, and clear explanations all in one place. You'll find the link in the description below, and it includes the charts for today's lesson. You can also check out my new course, The Musical Way to Solo. In that course, we take a deeper dive into how to use pentatonics, major scales, and arpeggios to get you soloing with confidence. And it's truly the next best thing to having private lessons. All of that is in the description below. First, let's define what the major scale is. It's a series of intervals made up of whole steps and half steps. You may know it from its traditional sound like this. Now, you may know it by that shape, or you may know it by the do, re, mi scale, but the way it's defined is it's a whole step, half step, then another whole step, and a half step gets us back to the one. Now, as we're going to use the 3-note per string major scale system, what we need to do is first define a major scale on just one string. So we're going to take a look at it on the E string, the 6th string here, and we'll begin on the note G. This is 1, which is G, my root, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then back to the 1. So 8 or 1, it's the same note, the G again. Now you can hear what I played in the other major scale shape, but I did it on one string this time. Now the reason this is important is because now I'm going to take a major scale shape and apply it to each one of those scale tones on the 6th string that we just played. Basically what that means is we're going to look at 7 different shapes off of each scale tone of the major scale. Now let me just say right now that in no way do you need to use all of these shapes. You can solo inside of just one shape or even a small portion of a shape. This is just to demonstrate how you can memorize 7 shapes to cover the entire neck should you want to have that freedom. Now if it's too overwhelming, then you just take one shape at a time and use that. The way this works is you would apply shape number 1 to note number 1, shape number 2 to note number 2, shape number 3 to note number 3, and so on and so forth. Let me first play shape number 1 on note number 1. We are in G major, so the G note is our first scale tone here. And we begin like this, 3 notes per string. Now you can see that's 3 notes per string. It's more symmetrical, and as such, it's easier to memorize across the fretboard. It's also easier to play than a series of 2 or 3 notes like we did here, where some strings have 2 notes and some strings have 3 notes. The symmetry of 3 notes per string does make it just a little bit easier to play and memorize. Now we'll look at shape number 2, and that will be found on scale tone number 2. In this case, that's going to be the A note. G is number 1, scale tone number 2 is A, a whole step away there. Number 3, we'll start on the B on the 7th fret. So G was 1, A was 2, B is 3. It's our 3rd note in our major scale. Now we go up a half step to scale tone number 4, which in this case is C, right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And by the way, when you do this in other keys, you may not have to think about the notes themselves. so much because this is pattern based. So once you get these patterns down, you can shift the patterns very quickly. But in this case, we're naming the notes so as to be more specific. So C is our fourth note right here, and here's shape number 4. Note number 5, or scale tone number 5, is the D on the 10th fret right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as I build my major scale. And this is what shape number 5 looks like. Number 6 in this case is going to be E on the 12th fret. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And here's what shape number 6 looks like. Number 7 is going to be on the F sharp, the 14th fret right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is the last shape. Then everything is going to start over and we're back to the G on the 15th fret, which would be the number 1 shape. Now let me play through all of these back to back so that you can see and hear them together. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. So we started on the G down here in shape 1, and we ended up on this high B here when we played shape 7. So we hit every possible fret from here to here with those 7 shapes in the key of G. Now if you want to continue to play higher, you simply start over like I mentioned with box 1 right here. And it just simply repeats, the pattern repeats. Now you might have noticed as we were doing this, I played shape 1, right behind it is shape 7. So I can shift down from the G, which is note number 1, to note number 7 right behind it, and play shape 7. And then when I get up there, I shift a half step up and come down shape number 1. It helps you see how they connect and overlap. Again, I'm in no way saying that you need to play all 7 of these shapes in order to play comfortably in any key. That's definitely not the case at all. You can choose one shape, or you could choose a couple of shapes that you simply think work better for your hands, or the ones that you understand better, and just use those and play in the appropriate keys. So you don't have to play all 7 shapes, but you've got the option to put in the time and memorize all 7 of them and get them under your fingers, and it makes every key in every position on the fretboard possible. Now let's talk about shifting keys if I don't want to play in the key of G anymore and I want to play in A major, for example. I simply treat the note A as scale tone 1, i.e. the root of my new key, and then I can play A major right here, shape number 1. So as I put shape number 1 on the A, it automatically adds the sharps that are needed for that specific key. Key of A has 3 sharps, by the way, but I didn't have to think about that. I simply played shape number 1 on the A, and it took care of that for me. Now if I want to continue on up the fretboard in the key of A, you simply treat this as the 1, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. we're always referencing 1 as our root. Let's say you're playing in a difficult key that's got tons of sharps, like F sharp major, and it's not on the dots, so F sharp major here. So it's not as comfortable to your eyes when you're looking at the fretboard. Well, maybe just use shape 1 right here on the F sharp if you're really good at shape 1. You don't need to play all these other shapes to effectively solo. They're simply available if you want to, and you can get them memorized where you can incorporate them. But if you're playing over a key that's difficult for you, go back to a comfortable shape for whatever key that might be. Now, I always say guitar scales are not going to make you a great player. You need to play music to become a great player. But guitar scales do show us the roadmap of the notes that are in a particular key, so they are extremely useful. In order to make these scale shapes musical for yourself, you need to play them over backing tracks. So I would pull up a backing track in the key of G major, and I would only practice maybe one scale shape, like number 1, for 5 or 10 minutes. And then maybe the next day I would pull up the G major backing track again and practice scale shape number 2 for 5 or 10 minutes until I get accustomed to that pattern. Now, I'm not a fan of practicing these over a metronome when you have all these backing tracks available. With a backing track, you can practice them with a beat, but you also have that important harmonic context. And that harmonic context helps you become musical with them. Let's say you really have no interest in learning these 7 scale shapes right now, but you just want to focus on the first one and start using that for soloing purposes or melodic development. Then pull up a backing track and practice shape 1 in G. The next day you pull up a backing track and you practice scale shape 1 in A. And then maybe the next day in F. So you're moving the shape around. Always choose a different key like that if you're just going to focus in on one shape, because then the pattern is becoming ingrained in your head and not so much its location on the fretboard. Now, we focused on major scales in this lesson, but if you want to go deeper on how to better use major scales as well as pentatonic scales, check out my brand new course, The Musical Way to Solo, where I make it super simple to use any of these shapes as a melodic way to solo. And if you're interested in what I think are the most useful pentatonic shapes, you should also check out a recent video I made on diagonal pentatonics right here.